Hello and welcome to my review of the Slaves to Darkness Chaos Knights. Now these 5 knights are the knights included in the Start Collecting box set, which is just here. I have recently discovered when building these and the warriors and the lord that it's all pushed to fit. What I mean by that is they have plugs and sockets in most of the parts which go together, and you just have to squeeze them together and then insert them into the bases and they're good to go. The downside with that is you don't get any customization other than the heads and this one weapon for the Doom Knight there, which kind of sucks, but for me it doesn't deter me from how awesome these models look. I much prefer multi-part, multi-pose models, always have, always will. But it's something that I think I need to explain to you straight away in the review. I would love for Games Workshop to bring out a unit of 5 to 10 Chaos Knights as a multi-pose, multi-part kit sometime in the future to upgrade the existing kit, because I think that's quite old now. But if you were interested in that old kit, it's £35, but you do get 10 Chaos Knights in there, as opposed to the Varangard, which are kind of like a one-off unit. They're £60 for only 3, but yeah, they are only a one-off unit. So the Start Collecting set and these Chaos Knights are a great way of starting, you know, hence the name, starting your Slaves to Darkness force. And if you want to bolster these up by buying an extra 10, you could do so. But bearing in mind there are quite a few models, quite a few twins in that set in terms of the mounts themselves. Some of them look similar. They've got the spears in the air for some reason. These ones have, you know, such a ferocious charge, intimidating presence compared to those older models. So what I'm boiling down to is, at the moment, the only way to get these particular 5 Chaos Knights is through the Start Collecting set, which is £60 for the Chaos Lord on a Karkadrack, these 5 Chaos Knights and 10 Chaos Warriors, which I'll be doing a review of soon. So what I like to do is go through each model individually and look at the detail, then I'll do some size comparisons, and then I'll go through the rules. Now unfortunately you don't get the rules or any war scrolls in the Start Collecting set, which I'm a bit surprised by, or you don't get like a formation war scroll or anything like that. I'm used to sort of 40k including those. However, all the war scrolls are free using the Age of Sigmar app. Just go on the store and download the app for free, and the war scrolls are there. Alternatively, you can find their rules in the brand new Slaves to Darkness Battle Tome, which is where I will be drawing the rules from today. So let's get cracking and have a look at some of these details. So this is one of my favourite Chaos Knights. He's really charging down there with the spear pointed downwards. You know, you've got lots of attention to detail. You've got an axe there. You've got a head, decapitated head. You've got armour for the horse. You've got horns coming from the horse. You've got some kind of demonic symbol. You've got a cracked Sigmar helmet. You've got a shield. It's worth noting that every shield in this Chaos Knight set is different. Every horse is different. Every pose is different. They really carry momentum that they are charging, and they're just fantastic looking minis. The different heads as well. So that's that Chaos Knight. You've got another one again. This one is probably aiming, it's probably going to lower that lance or aiming at another knight. I love how most of them only have one hoof, one leg glued to the base. That really carries the visual momentum that the designers are looking for. You've got another head there. I think that's an elf head, decapitated head. This mount doesn't have any horns coming out, just has a metal pike. This shield has got a few chains and hand on and some runes. You've got a really nice long sheath there for a bladed weapon. I think he's got his sword and he's got some cracked armour there. So that's another one of the knights. You've got this one here, which is a bit, not really a gallop, going a bit slower, I would have thought. I like the two front hooves that are lifted up though. Got this massive metal spike, and the lance is raised. That's a really cool looking model. You've got some skulls, and you've got some kind of mace thing. Shield looks pretty awesome. He's got a mace on his back. And then you've got this one as well. Again, he's charging, but he's not got his lance down. And you've just got the tip of a hoof on this little bit of a scenic base there. And you've got some horns jutting out of the armour. You've got some skulls and another decapitated head. They're pretty grim. This knight has also got a sword on his back, sheathed, and some awesome looking spiked horns. I mean, all of them are very individual. And these are a great starting point for my Slaves to Darkness army. And finally, you've got the Doom Knight. Now, I was deciding on whether to have him with the lance or not, because the lance on a charge you get extra rend, but I like the fact that he can have d6 attacks, and I just like the motion that this cursed flail is going in as well. Looks really, really cool. You've got some decapitated heads on there again. The mount has actually got like a skull over it instead of armour, and there's some big horns coming out of the shield, and yeah, no sword or anything like that anywhere, so he's just got that flail. But I love the helmet, kind of like Ahriman's twin brother, I suppose. Yeah, absolutely stunning model. So yeah, although you don't need to use glue, I would use glue just to keep them together a little bit better. And also, if you don't use glue, you're going to have some gaps around. Mine, I've glued the gaps shut, but I will need to just file them down to get rid of the visible cracks. So there you go, that is all of the Chaos Knights. Let's just show you the spare parts, which there are only two. And of course, it's the different helmet or head for the Doom Knight. So you could just have him as a normal Chaos Knight there, and the Cursed Lance as well. So they're the only spare parts you get in this little section of the Start Collecting box set. Let's show you some size comparisons. So next to the Karkadrak, who will be leading your force, Karkadrak is a beast, this Chaos Lord. Looks awesome near them as like this mounted ferocious beast thing. Really, really cool, and lends itself with them. I don't think that it can move as fast, but it does have you know, 3 times as many wounds as you know, the Chaos Knights, and these are just an incredible kind of battering ram to throw at your opponent. I just wish that they'd make more Chaos Knights and update them in this finer detail. That would be immense, and I'd definitely put some money behind newer models that are multi-part, multi-pose. So that's how they would stand there. Next to a Chaos Warrior, let's just have one with a sword. They are, well, the right size that you'd expect, really. There's the Chaos Warrior, and it just adds an extra, doubles his height really, being on a mount. So that's him next to there. Next to Nighthaunt, I've just got one model, not one other Age of Sigmar model. Nighthaunt models are just floating about, but that gives you a sense of scale there between the Chaos Knight. And then because my collections are normally Warhammer 40k, I've actually got a Space Marine and a Primaris Space Marine, if these help. So this is the Doom Knight next to a Space Marine, and then next to a Primaris Space Marine right there. There you go. So yeah, it does dwarf a Primaris Space Marine. So these aren't small models by any means. These are quite large models in their own right. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of their rules, and I'll take their rules from the Chaos Battle Tome Slaves to Darkness book that recently came out a few weeks ago. Chaos Knights, the unit size minimum is 5, maximum is 20, and they're 140 points for the 5 of them. And there are 180 points for the 5 of them, and it does say battle line in Slaves to Darkness army. So their stat line reads, their movement of 10 inches, wounds 3, save 4+, and bravery 7. Pretty strong unit. Compared to the Chaos Lord on a demonic mount, same movement speed, same save, but the Lord has 8 wounds and a bravery of 1 better at 8 instead of 7. So a unit of Chaos Knights has any number of models, each armed with one of the following weapon options: Ensorcelled Weapon and Chaos Rune Shield, or Cursed Lance and Chaos Rune Shield. Ensorcelled Weapon has a range of 1 inch, 3 attacks, 3+ to hit, to wound 3+, rend is -1, and damage of 1. Cursed Lances, a range of 2 inches. They have 2 attacks, 4+ to hit, 3+ to wound, and a damage of 1. The Cursed Flail, which this Doom Knight has, is a range of 2 inches, D6 attack, 4+ to hit, 3+ to wound, and a damage of 1. And then Trampling Hooves is a range of 1 inch, 2 attacks, 4+ to hit, 4+ to wound, and damage of 1. So the mount, the unit's War Steeds attack with their Trampling Hooves, and then Doom Knight, one model in the unit can be a Doom Knight, add 1 to the attacks characteristic that model's melee weapons, excluding its mount. In addition, that model can replace its weapon option with a Cursed Flail and Chaos Rune Shield. Now, I would read that as in addition in terms of it's got D6 attacks and then you add 1 for the melee weapon. But some people may argue that replacing the weapon with the Cursed Flail negates that add 1 to the attacks, so it only gets the D6 attacks. I say only. Standard Bearer, 1 in every 5 models in this unit can be a Standard Bearer. Add 1 to the bravery characteristic of this unit while it includes any Standard Bearers. Now, unfortunately, this Start Collecting set doesn't have a Standard Bearer kind of model, but if you were against me and you nominated one, as long as it was visible or, you know, the shield was a different colour, I'd let that fly, that'd be fine. Again, same with the Hornblower. 1 in every 5 models in this unit can be a Hornblower. Add 1 to the run charge. Add 1 to run and charge rolls for a unit that includes any Hornblowers. Mark of Chaos. When you select this unit to be part of your army, you must give it one of the following Mark of Chaos keywords: Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, Slaanesh, or Undivided. And abilities. They've got Chaos Rune Shields, so that means when you roll a dice each time you allocate a mortal wound to a unit with Chaos Rune Shields on a 5+, that mortal wound is negated. That's pretty awesome. So 5+, feel no pain kind of thing. Impaling Charge. Add 1 to the damage characteristic and improve the rend characteristic of this unit's Cursed Lances by 2 if it made a charge move in the same turn. That's brilliant to have those Cursed Lances at a 2. And then finally, Terrifying Champions. Subtract 1 from the bravery characteristic of enemy units within 3 inches of any friendly units with this ability in the battle shot phase. That's straightforward. Keywords: Chaos, Mortal, Slaves to Darkness, Mark of Chaos, and Chaos Knights. So there you go. That's all the rules from the War Scroll. I said before, you can get those rules from the free War Scrolls in the Age of Sigmar app for free. I think they're a decent unit. 5 seems to be a strong number to have. You know, you've got 15 wounds there just with 5. 10 would be horrific, and they definitely have quite high survivability, and they're very fast, you know, 10 inches. You should be able to get them into combat no problem. What do you guys think of the new models and the rules? Please put it in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Death to the False Emperor.